As I'm looking at the U.S. chart with the planets as they are in the heavens on election day, it gives me a lot of hope and excitement that we are moving into major change. There's going to be lots and lots of celebrations for those who are progressives, for women's rights, for home and family needs, for a softening of this very harsh patriarchal energy that we've been experiencing since Reagan came in the 80s. It's not a blue America or a red America. We are all Americans. Hello, my lovely friends. I'm so glad to see you today for us to reconnect. Today, I'm going to be covering the November 5th U.S. election. And I'm very excited. I've actually not just looked at November 5th because most astrologers would say that we're probably not going to know the first day, maybe even not that first week. And I was looking at energies and thinking maybe we'll have a sense of the outcome by the full moon on November 15th. But actually, as I'm looking at the U.S. chart with the planets as they are in the heavens on election day, it gives me a lot of hope and excitement that we are moving into major change. And I do think that maybe even the 15th of November might be too soon, but definitely by the end of the month, the last week of November and into the month of December, there's going to be lots and lots of celebrations for those who are progressives, for women's rights, for home and family needs, for a softening of this very harsh patriarchal energy that we've been experiencing since Reagan came in the 80s. So just to give you that general overview, there's going to be a lot to celebrate and still some challenges, some disappointments. I think I'll go over this chart, but I actually want to just remind that it's not a blue America or a red America. We are all Americans. And so, and this time is really about teaching us or inviting us to not get into ego or right and wrong or winners and losers, but to remember our own humanity and the humanity of every other person on the planet and in our country. And so having more compassion for others will be really important to our future together in this country. The indicators that I see in this particular chart, I do the Sibley chart if you're looking for a US chart that most astrologers will use. So the sun in the US chart is at 13 degrees of Cancer. And Mars has finished his travels through the sign of Cancer by November and is really, really, really slowing down and getting ready to do a retrograde early December. So, and then he will only be about 3 degrees into Leo, and then he backs back into Cancer again. So during that about 3.5 months retrograde period, so December, January, February, about 3.5 months of retrograde time frame, we're going to be rethinking, redoing, reconsidering, what are we doing to help meet the needs of the people, of children, of women, because this energy of the sun is actually trining Saturn in Pisces. It's within 1 degree, but that makes it also still very potent. The U.S., it's like it is the awake and compassionate male energy that will help rebalance, that will say we are going to make our families and our children a priority. But it is women who, and the youth, I would say, not just women and children, I would say the voting age, young people that have had to do active shooter drills in there, and many of them have been traumatized, not just one time, but several times. So the youth who are now voting age will be highlighted, and their advocacy, we're not going to put up with it anymore, will be turning out by the millions to the polls and voting. So women will take on the patriarchy, will take on the government, will take on the corporations, and do it, and are going to be joined by males who love them, and in order to take our rights back. And certainly the new administration will make it a priority. I don't know personally, this is my personal opinion, but this corrupted Supreme Court gave presidents carte blanche, their immunity. And as many bad decisions as they've made, and particularly Citizens United, which flooded our elections with dark money and allowed foreign countries to also buy our politicians. There have been so many reversals of rights that have been hard fought and hard won. Again, since the FDR timeframe in the 30s, and since the Reagan time, there's been the reversing and setbacks of so many laws. Truth in advertising. The fairness doctrine is another doctrine where if you have a newspaper or radio, or if you are the owner of newspapers, radio, and or television, or any of the media, you have to speak the truth, because what's happened since Reagan reversed that is all the investigative journalism departments in the television stations and around the country, except for a few that have committed to that, have reversed. They've set up news as entertainment, and we've gotten the most extreme, where there may be a thread of truth, but that's what is educating the public. And it was the fairness doctrine required that the media is ordered to, with the fairness doctrine, show both sides of the arguments, particularly when you're looking at the politics and two-party system, but to do it fairly and to do it honestly. And so now anyone can lie and get away with it, and that's what is educating the majority of our public. It's really hard. People don't know what to believe. So we are going to be looking at, we definitely are in the U.S. Pluto return from the founding, 1776. July 4th, 1776, we are experiencing over the last couple of years our Pluto return. And he's still within 2 degrees of orb, but we'll be moving on finally away from the Pluto, which is in the second house of the people's money, the people's values. This exposure of the abuses of power, of the changes that have happened to our Constitution, to our rights as a people, the assault by a captured court on the rights of the people, have been exposed by Pluto traveling through Capricorn, and particularly the last few degrees of Capricorn. So expect a lot of changes as we move forward that will benefit the people and the needs of the people in having their individual rights restored and returned. So Saturn in Pisces says, this has all gone too far. It's time for us to restructuring communication, restructuring our day-to-day activities, and how we take care of people in general. Look at the food sources and health issues, that sort of thing. We are also experiencing and kind of Neptune. We had our Neptune opposition to the U.S. Neptune a couple of years back, and that opposition is the disappointment, disillusionment, the lying to the people from the communication house of just the basic news to the Neptune that's conjunct our midheaven up in the 9th house of higher communication, higher education. So education has been devastated, both the preschool through high school, and then the higher education systems, which are 9th house issues. have been assaulted and devastated and shut down, as far as being able to teach a wide variety of philosophies and values. So those things have been going on and just eroding both the early education and the advanced education in the country. So during this period, the sun is in the 11th house of the U.S. chart, traveling through the 11th house in the sign of Scorpio. And this means a major overhaul of what's going on for us, exposing the truth of in regard to the masses and in regard to environmental kinds of things and the earth. So we are really looking at major changes coming up with this new administration in the area of looking at what's good for groups and organizations, looking at the environment, and having people work in teams in very powerful ways to quickly address the needs of, the desperate needs of people, whether it's from disaster areas or, with hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, or the homeless situation. It's really about meeting the needs of groups of people. And that also can speak to anything that would make it difficult for people to achieve their goals. And so the sun in Scorpio at 14 degrees is in the 11th house of the U.S. chart. And there is going to be a big commitment to meeting the needs in powerful ways of those that have been abused, those that have been neglected over the past, I would say, 80 years, because a lot of this didn't just happen. And look at creating more balance for the people, and starting to make some things right. Things have been so out of balance for so long. It's really time to start to make some things right. The other thing that I see in this chart is Chiron, the wounded healer, is traveling at about 20 degrees of Aries, and the Chiron in the U.S. chart is at 20 degrees Aries. So the U.S. not only is having its Pluto return from our inception in 1776, it's also experiencing fifth or sixth Chiron return, probably the fifth one. It's Chiron. It takes Chiron, the wounded healer, about 50 years to go around all the signs. So at 20 degrees of Aries, and he is at 20 degrees of Aries now. Major emphasis on healing for homes and families. And that means some big changes coming in relation to literally homes. And so helping come up with creative solutions on housing homeless people. But the housing market has been devastated with extremely high interest rates and out of control with the advent or the 2008 crash that was a mortgage crash. A lot of Wall Street went in and swooped up as people defaulted on their mortgages and lost their homes. Investors went in and swooped them up. And it wasn't just U.S. investors. This is global investors. So there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to come into play over the next few years for the housing industry, and with an eye toward healing and new beginnings in those areas. So that's very exciting. And Eris is there saying, I think there's going to be a lot of protests. There's going to be a lot of feminine energy, and particularly looking at housing families with children. We have so many empty buildings, and the price of housing isn't anywhere near what seniors can afford, what, single families, particularly young families starting out, can't even consider the purchase of a home. So we may be seeing some new policies coming out of Washington around, how do we quickly house people, particularly in areas that have been devastated by earthquakes or tornadoes or flooding, and that sort of thing. There is also the North Node at 4 degrees of Aries is conjunct trans Pluto in the 4th house of home and family, related to Americans' homes and their ability to be independent and self-sufficient. So the North Node said there's going to be new policies, new programs that are going to help all walks of life, every, from veterans to mental health patients to, those that have been turned out on the streets and there is just no hope. This will be a time where there will be a priority of converting, high-rise apartments into efficiency apartments or whatever. My mind is limited by what I know, as opposed to the creativity of what can be. So I do see a lot of changes coming in from that perspective. Technology is going to absolutely be affecting finances for the workers. And we've all heard and know that within the next couple of years, if even that long, robotics and AI are going to make it so that there's hardly any need for workers. So what does the world do when there's no need for workers? And yet the corporations are still going to make lots of money. So we're going to have to look at, a different system for income for the masses, for people, and not have it be everyone, you either die or you live in poverty. So lots and lots of innovative new things coming in regard to helping people as we transition out of that we need to work 40-hour weeks and into how can we still be productive and live our lives and raise our families and educate our children. And I'm truly hoping that we're going to be seeing a resurgence, of the arts for the common people, for general public. And I wouldn't say we're also common, but the general public. And so the imbalances in all these relationships is going to be a big issue and creating a system of, sacred systems that are honoring and respectful of individuals and groups of people will be a major priority for the government and as we move forward with this new administration. And Mercury is in the 12th house, traveling through the 12th house. He is direct, communications planet in Sagittarius. So there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes discussions about the bigger picture, what's going on in our country, what's going on in our world, and what are some solutions to not just the problems, and not just so that we can barely survive, but so that everyone can thrive. So many exciting things coming up as I look at the U.S. chart and this election coming up. So stand by and we'll see what happens. We are still under Neptune in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces. So there can still be manipulations. There's still a lot of denial out there about who Donald Trump is and the Republicans and the Agenda 2025. I really don't believe most Americans, if they understood what was about to happen and what those agendas are, that they would be for that, especially if it applied to them. So I'm thinking that there's still going to be a group of people that are not wanting, that are going to be disappointed. And the Trump's playbook and the playbook of a lot of the MAGA Republicans is to deny, and basically say the election was stolen and run it through the courts, and maybe they'll get that friendly Supreme Court to install him instead. I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. This chart is offering too many new beginnings. Okay, so that's my little short assessment of what's coming for us on election day and around the full moon on November 15th, maybe the next time, that more information, more clarity about the reality of the election. And definitely by the last week of November and moving into the 14th of December, mid-December, we will have really good news in regard to beginning the process of moving into this new Aquarian age as Pluto is fully in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So blessings to all of you. Remember to breathe. Remember to, again, spend time in nature. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Find peace in your heart and share it. Help others. Be in service. These are the things that will bring us together as a community. And politics is just a silly game, but a somewhat vicious and dangerous game at times. So it's a matter of just having love and compassion for humanity, for the earth, and know that we're entering a new age. So please remember to breathe and keep the faith. Thanks for checking in. Hello, my beautiful friends. I want to thank everyone for watching Catherine Astrology YouTube videos. I also would like to ask a favor and remind you to please click the like, subscribe, and the notification bell, and invite you to also leave comments. We will do our best to respond within a few days. We are also on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and others will be coming in the future. Those will be listed in the link below. At this time, I would also like to invite other artists. We love seeing and supporting artists, and we'll happily feature you in our videos. Always keep the faith.